Well, joining me now in the studio, I have political analyst Nee Saliu. Welcome on the show. Much. And as well, I have via Zoom a political analyst, Olufemi Lawson. Thank you both for joining us.
Good evening.
All right, let me begin with you, Olufemi. You will agree with me that there is a looming food crisis as we lose farms to flooding. Some have suggested that the borders should be open to mitigate the food crisis. Let's share your thought on this.
Well, this is a national emergency, and I think as a country we are not doing enough, especially when you consider the fact that beyond the fact that we have lost close to 1,000 Nigerians in this unfortunate situation, a lot of properties that cannot yet be valued have also been lost to this unfortunate flood ravaging various parts of the country. And as we speak, there are some states that are almost completely submerged in this flood. When you talk about states like Bayelsa, the state is practically under the water as we speak. So I think this is enough to be declared as a national emergency. And beyond providing relief materials like we're currently witnessing, something deliberate must be done to address the aftermath of this. Some, whether we like it or not, there are consequences to what has happened economically, socio-economically, health-wise, and of course, infrastructure as far as these places are concerned. So I think by now, the country moving forward must begin to look at how we can address the consequences of what has happened across the states when this flood have ravaged. And I think the time is now. We cannot wait to record more loss of lives. We cannot wait to record more damaged properties before we begin to look at what has been damaged or what do we do come, the next couple of months. So I think by now, the government should declare national emergency and dedicate a special team to begin to assess the damages that have so far been done. And I think that is very, very necessary as we speak.
All right, let me come to you, Nee, now. Mr. Olufemi Lawson is saying that the federal government should declare national emergency. Absolutely. But federal government is saying there is no need for that. Where do you stand?
The flood has taken over 31 out of 36 states of the federation. So there is a need, it's a national emergency already, whether the government declares it or not. And beyond that, what they should also do is to show more empathy. They're trying as it were, but they need to, spread out, seek help from states, from local government, from, individuals and donors who can come together to support these people. Then we also need to get to the root of the matter. It's not the first time we're having flood issues in Nigeria. It's happened over the years. So there has to be something that can be done. And we've heard about a dam that is causing this problem. If there's need for Nigeria to complete its own part of the dam, I think they should. This can't continue next year. Unfortunately, any government that is in power will take responsibility. Whether it's Buhari today, whether it's Tinubu next year, it doesn't matter. What is important is that there's a problem. And we need to be beyond providing relief materials, helping people. Because what people have lost are way beyond whatever provisions that are being made now. They've lost lives. You can't restore that. They've lost properties. The only relief they are getting now is what will get them by till after the flooding. After the flooding, they need to go back to their houses. For some that will still have their houses, some have completely lost theirs. They need to get their lives back. So there has to be a plan to restore that to them. Then we don't want to see Nigeria face this kind of problem going forward. Whatever permanent solution that we can provide now, the plan, if we haven't made it before now, or if there are plans that have been made, if you don't want to pursue that, let's have a plan now. Government is continuum. When the next government comes, this government can start, and what we don't want to see is next year, another rainy season comes, and we are still talking about flooding. When we can solve the problem, learning from the crisis that's happening now, and taking positive steps towards permanently resolving it.
My next question to you will be, how about this call for presidential candidates to suspend their campaign for now and take this issue of flood, take it very seriously? What do you think about that?
Look, there can't be two governments at a time. There's President Buhari, who is head of government right now, and is tackling it. It may not be enough. We are calling on him to do more and lead support of states and other stakeholders in it. Yes, the president candidate of each different political parties campaigning now must show empathy, must do what they can to support the efforts of government, and it's also an opportunity for them to give us a plan towards permanently resolving this. And I think what we should run away from is allowing people to turn what is clearly a national disaster into political, leverage. It is not. It's a very serious issue. It's not something people begin to, benefit from. It is something that calls for, all of us to come together and ensure that we lift our people out of this, disaster.
All right, let me get your own view on this. There is this call for presidential candidate Olufemi. Are you still there with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so would the call about the presidential candidates to suspend their campaigns to give full attention to the issue of flood, where do you stand on it?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think it is the job of the presidential candidate to address the issue of flood. It is there's a government in place, and we cannot, at this point, excuse the government from its responsibilities. The presidential candidate, just like you and I, are still ordinary citizens. Of course, as a form of support, they can, of course, give support to victims of this flood, like we have been witnessing. Yesterday, Ashwaji Bola Tinubu was in Kano, where he donated money to victims of flood. Mr. Peter Obi was in Benue a few days ago, of course, also donating to victims of the flood. I also understand the PDP presidential candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has donated in some part of the country. That is the limit of what I think their duties, should be. But suspending campaigns, which has, of course, been embarked upon as a matter of the constitutional requirement towards the election, may not be it. There is a government in place. As we speak, there's a Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, which seems not to be doing anything except we are not aware as we speak. The country has a president, we have a vice president, we have all sorts of agencies of government that can actually address the situation at hand. So I'm not of the opinion that it is necessary for presidential candidates, to suspend, except they so wish, but I don't think they are under any obligation to do so. What is most important is that we have a government which should rise up and be responsible at this time, and be responsive to the demands of the people that are affected, by the flooding. So it's not a matter of, people should not politicize this. It's unfortunate that people are trying to make political gains out of this very unfortunate incident.
All right, Olufemi Lawson, thank you for your contribution so far.